In today's video, I'm going to show you how to make these super cool, super fun spider beanies or cat hat. Really, I've included the two styles of hat together because they really start off very much the same. There's only a small variation, a difference in the way we approach closing the hat up and maybe the tassels we put into the hat that makes the difference in the world. So pretty much the rest of it, the spider motif, the basic sizes, they all fit about the same. And they're all worked exactly the same until the last few rows. And so because of that, in this video, I will include a material list and a stitch list, a basic graph for the spider motif, particularly for those people who are fairly advanced and can look at the graph that I provide and say, oh, okay, yeah, no problem. I can work this maybe without sitting through, half the video or something to that effect. And then also I have, for lack of a better description, a crochet along, basically a step-by-step. You crochet with me the spider motif, particularly for those who might be beginners and want to try a more advanced project like this, or for those who are more visual and want to be able to better see exactly what it is that I'm doing as we complete this project. Welcome to Weaving Weird Studio. My name is Sig, and this is where you and I create a little magic with every knot. It's your interest and support that allows me to contribute new content and weekly videos. Help us all grow together by tapping the subscribe bar, notification bell, and like buttons. I look forward to your comments and always value your feedback. So for today's tutorial, I am going to need a yarn needle, a size 5.5 crochet hook, or a 3.25 millimeter hook. Basically, in US terms, this is going to be something between a D or an E size hook, so you're going to use whatever works best for you. A pair of scissors, and then my yarn. And for my yarn, I'm going to use a light worsted weight yarn, basically a size 3 yarn, or a DK yarn, depending on what yarn I'm using. Now, for today's project, I am using yarns from Loops and Threads. I have this Luxe Merino wool blend yarn that I really like. It's a 55% superwash merino and 45% acrylic, which is really kind of a nice blend for a project like this. And of course, I'm using black. You certainly can use any color you want. And then also, they didn't have the color or the contrasting color I wanted in this Luxe Merino wool. So I settled, also from Loops and Threads, I settled for their Snuggly Wubbly violet. I think it's a violet. Yeah, violet yarn. Now this is 100% acrylic. So it's a little different in terms of yarn material, but the two yarns work very well together and their washing instructions are very similar. So for example, the wool blend is going to be a wash in cold and tumble dry on low, where my acrylic yarn is going to be a wash in warm and tumble dry on low. So this makes it really simple. So my end product, I will just simply wash on cold and tumble dry on low. So it really makes these two yarns very much compatible, even though the actual material that makes up the yarn is different. Also, another reason why I chose to go with this Snuggly Wuggly yarn is because it has a very similar feel to the merino yarn, or the merino blend yarn, which is, it's not quite the same, but it's close enough in texture and feel that I'm okay with using the two together. And of course, you will decide for yourself how you would like to approach this. But really, the most important part of this particular tutorial, or your yarn choice, is that it's going to be a light worsted size 3 yarn or a DK yarn. Now, before we get started, I want to assure you that the spider beanie and the spider cat hat are really very much made mostly the same way. So as you follow the instructions on how to make this beanie, until you hit the last 3 rows and the assembly of the beanie, everything for the beanie and the cat hat are going to be exactly the same. So you don't have to worry about any of that. Even the sizing is going to be the same. And so I'm going to offer up 3 sizes. These sizes are going to be average adult sizes. So your small size is going to accommodate somebody's head that has the circumference of approximately 18 to 20 inches, where your average medium-sized adult is going to have a head circumference of 20 to 22 inches. And then, of course, your large size adult, average large size adult, is going to have the head circumference of approximately 22 to 24 inches. So in these instructions, I will make sure to let you know the count for small, medium, and large, just so that you can make sure that the beanie you create is going to fit yourself or the intended person you plan to gift this to. Now, as we begin, we're going to begin with a rib stitch. Actually, we're making the band, and the band is a fabric of rib stitches. So I'm going to begin by chaining 9. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, and 9. I'm then going to single crochet in the second chain for my hook. And then I'm going to single crochet in each of the next 7 chains. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and 7, which brings me a total of 8 single crochets. And then I'm going to chain 1. I'm going to turn my work. And then in the last single crochet in the back loop only, I am going to make a single crochet. And then I'm going to single crochet in each of the next stitches back loop only. So that'll be 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and 8. Next, I'm going to make a chain. I'm going to turn my work. And again, I'm going to begin my 3rd row by making a single crochet in the last single crochet that I just made, back loop only. And then in each additional stitch, back loop only. So that will leave row 3 again with a total of 8 single crochets. And then, of course, I'm going to make a chain again. I'm going to turn my work, and I'm going to do that all over again for row 4. Now, I'm going to continue doing just this very same thing for a total of 101 rows. This is going to be a band for a medium-sized beanie. Now, if I were making a small-sized beanie, I would want 89 rows. And if I'm making a large-size beanie, I would want 111 rows. So I'm going to complete these rows and I will meet you right back here. Now, once you've finished the amount of rows for your band, your piece should look something like this. Now, next we're going to move on to the body of our beanie. And the next two rows are going to be basically rows of single crochets. So we already have our chain one, and then I'm going to go ahead and across the length of this band, I'm going to single crochet 1 stitch for each row. So what that's going to do for me then is that is going to give me 101 single crochets across the length. Now, if you're doing a large hat, you should have 111 single crochets across the length of your band. And if you're doing a small beanie, you should have 89 single crochets across the length of your band. And then once I do my first row, the beginning of the body of this beanie, I'm going to chain one, I'm going to turn my work, and then I'm going to single crochet the same number all the way back. So I'm going to single crochet either 89 stitches, 101 stitches, or 111 stitches. And then I'll see you back here when we begin row 3, because that's where we're going to start incorporating our spider design. So before we move on, I'd like to show you this image of the basic pattern of the spider that we will be making for this beanie. Now, as you can see to the far right, I have 4 rows of numbers. Those indicate the length of a small, medium, and large beanie in terms of where the center sits. And then that very farthest right list of numbers is basically the 23 stitch count for which the spider design itself sits within. And so the center of that is going to be 12. Now you can see the highlights. The highlights, at least the first 2 rows, are basically just straight single crochet, as you will see as we move along. And then all the rows that are free or not highlighted, those are right facing rows, and the highlighted rows are back facing rows, or the work that we work from the wrong side. The lines themselves aren't indicative of any symbol for any particular stitch, but they do tell me, as they will tell you, that either a front post double crochet or a back post double crochet will need to go there. And so, of course, if it's highlighted, that will be a back post double crochet. And if it's not highlighted, then that will be a front post double crochet. And then, of course, you can see the amount of rows that it's going to take to complete this spider. So I give this to you as kind of more an aid, more a visual aid for those of you who work better with charts and graphs. I think this should be helpful. I hope it is helpful. And now, so let's go ahead and move on to the next steps of our tutorial. So first off, you've noticed that my band has changed because I happen to be working a couple of these different hats at the same time, because I've taken this as an opportunity to show you the different looks that you can get with the same pattern. But for the rest of this part of the tutorial, we will be working off this fabric, because this is the fabric that A, I'm going to be using to construct the cat hat from, and B, because I'm going to be changing colors with this particular one. So I also wanted to kind of give those of you who don't have a lot of experience with changing colors in a piece like this as to what that looks like. So another point to bring up as well is, you've noticed I've got 3 stitch markers in my piece. Now, my orange stitch marker signifies the very center of my piece, or the center of the width of the fabric that I'm working with. So, for example, if I'm making a small beanie, my center stitch is going to be stitch 45. If I'm making a medium beanie, which I am, my center stitch is going to fall at stitch 51. And if I am making a large beanie, my stitch is going to fall at 56. And so I'm going to mark that center stitch because that's what's going to be really important. Then I'm going to count 11 stitches in either direction. So, and then place my next stitch markers that you can see here in this teal colored stitch marker. And what this gives me is a count of 23 stitches from stitch marker to stitch marker. So this stitch marker, for all intents purposes, marks stitch 1. And this stitch marker, for all intents purposes, marks stitch 23. And my orange or center stitch marker, for all intents purposes, marks stitch 12. And this is important because these 23 stitches are where the spider design fits. So this is where I'm going to focus my attention in terms of giving instructions to you. Because no matter which size beanie you're making, your spider is still going to fit within these 23 stitches. Now, all the stitches before that and all the stitches after that, front and back, are simply going to be single crochets. So you're going to complete your row with your single crochet. You're going to chain 1. You're going to turn your work. You're going to single crochet in the next stitch. And then you're going to continue to single crochet in each stitch until you hit your first marker. And that will count, for all intents purposes, as the first stitch within your 23 stitch block. And then once you've placed your pattern or whatever your row calls for within that 23 stitch block, then you're going to come to the end and you're going to continue to single crochet your single crochets. Now, I hope this is a clear explanation. If you're still having trouble understanding kind of what I'm trying to convey here, just go ahead and mention that in the comments below, and I'll do my best to answer that for you in a way that you might better understand it. And so go ahead and pause this video and place your stitch markers, because from here on in, each row that I refer to, I'm only going to be referring to the count of 1 through 23 right here in the center part of the row, so that it's not too redundant and it doesn't get too confusing with too many numbers flying out there that aren't necessary to even be there in order to achieve the design you're trying to achieve. Okay, so let's get started with row 3. Now, as you can see, I've already single crocheted row 3 up to my stitch marker, which is in stitch 1 or row 3. And so what I want to do next is I want to single crochet 9. So I'm going to 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, and 9. So I've single crocheted 9. I'm actually going to go ahead and release that one loop, because here I'm going to change colors. Now, you may decide that you like the look of more an embossed spider that's a little more subtle, and so it blends in with the same yarn you're using throughout the entire beanie, and that's fine. Just continue on as I give the instructions. But for this particular beanie, I want my spider to be black, and so I'm going to change colors for each stitch that corresponds with the stitch needed to create the design. I'm doing this for 2 reasons. The first reason is because I really just want my spider to be black. The second reason is I think this is going to be easier for you to see as the design itself takes shape and as you're trying to follow these instructions. So for those of you who aren't familiar with changing colors, basically what you're going to do is, since I'm going to need my new color for stitch 10, I need to get myself set up in stitch 9. And in stitch 9, I'm going to follow my stitch all the way through until the last step of the stitch. So in this case of a single crochet, my last step of the stitch would be a yarn over and then a pull through to create a single crochet. However, I'm changing colors. And so this last step of the stitch, I'm actually going to use that to get my first color change set into play. And so now I'm ready to go. The next thing I need to discuss is for those of you who may not be very familiar with doing front row posts, or at least the beginning part of your post stitch, rather, I should say, is your next stitch is typically going to land right in here, right? Especially if you were doing a regular stitch, but we're doing a front post stitch. And so you're going to think of this stitch in terms of an upside down L with the foot of that L facing left. If you're left-handed, it's going to be facing right. But if you crochet right-handed, which most of us do, it's going to be facing left. So you know that the bar or the back of that L is the stitch or the post that you want to make your stitch into. And of course, with a post stitch, you're going to typically do it rows below. So in this case, it's just going to be in row 2 that we place the post stitch. And our post stitch are going to be double crochet post stitch. So again, for those of you who are new to this, a double crochet post stitch is just like it sounds. It's going to be a double crochet. So I'm going to do a yarn over just like I'm starting a double crochet. And because this is the front post stitch, so the post that's on the side of the fabric that's facing me, I'm going to go ahead, I'm going to take my hook and I'm going to insert it behind that post and I'm going to yarn over and I'm going to pull that yarn through. So now we're looking more like we got a more of a kind of a traditional sort of double crochet look going. And then I'm going to just go ahead and I'm going to do that yarn over and then I'm going to pull that yarn through those first two loops. So now I need to change colors again here. So just as before, I'm going to go ahead, I'm going to change colors. So instead of following through with the last step of this double crochet front post stitch, I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to bring my purple color up. I'm going to use that to complete that last step. And then in the next stitch, in stitch 11, I'm going to make a single crochet with my purple. Now in the middle part, I'm going to make my next single crochet in purple. And then one more single crochet, which is going to be stitch 13 in purple. But now, because I'm doing kind of a mirror image of the first side, I'm going to change colors. And in order to do that, I need to pick up my black and I will finish that last single crochet out with my black. And then again, I'm going to do my next double crochet front post. So yarn over, insert my hook behind the next post, yarn over and pull that through. So now I have 3 loops on my hook. I'm going to yarn over and pull that yarn through the first 2 loops. Now I'm going to change colors. And I'm going to use the purple to finish off that double crochet front post stitch. And now I'm going to go ahead and single crochet in my next stitch. And then, so for the rest of this row, I'm going to make a single crochet in each stitch all the way down. And as before, I'm going to chain 1, I'm going to turn my work. I'm going to do a single crochet in the same stitch for my row 4. And then I'm going to, again, single crochet all the way back until I hit that first marker in the row of row 4. And just before I hit that marker, I will meet you right back here and we will discuss row 4, stitches 1 through 23. Now we're working on the wrong side. And if it's easier for you to move your stitch markers up, by all means, go ahead for each row that you work. And in this piece, basically, all your even rows are going to be worked on the wrong side of your piece, and all your odd rows are going to be worked on the right side of your piece. So this is row 4. And we're at the beginning of our stitch marker, and I'm not going to mention this again because I'm just going to assume that you understand that each row is going to start at the first stitch within the 23 stitch block of the spider motif. Now the next thing I want to do is I'm going to go ahead and I am going to single crochet 7 single crochets. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and 7. Now at this point, I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to make a back post double crochet into the next stitch. And then I'm going to single crochet in the stitch after that. And in the stitch after that, I'm going to back post double crochet again. Now, if you're having a little bit of trouble following this, just go ahead and screenshot the basic design that I kind of chicken scratched for you out on the diagram earlier in this video and just refer to that. Now, the marks on that diagram aren't indicative of which crochet stitch you need to make because they're really not there to symbolize which crochet stitch you need to make. Rather, they're just there to kind of show you which stitches are being worked in a front or back post double crochet and which stitches are to be worked in your standard single crochet. But that might make all of this just a little easier to follow if you need that additional visual. So next, I'm going to single crochet in the next 3 stitches. 1, oops. But because I'm doing colors, I'm going to go ahead and work my yarn in there. So 1, 2, and then 3. Next, I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to make my back post double crochet. And just like before, because each side is a mirror image of each other on either side of the 12 of the center stitch, 12. I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to single crochet. And then I'm going to make another back post double crochet. And then I'm going to finish off by single crocheting 7. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and 7. So now you can see the first part of our legs being made. There, this is, I just flipped this over to the right side. Now I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to finish single crocheting the rest of the length of this, and then I'm going to flip it over and bring it back to the start of our 23 stitch count block that we're working our design in. Moving on to row 5, we're going to begin by single crocheting 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. Next, I'm going to do a front post stitch, but for this stitch, I'm going to skip over the next stitch and I'm going to go down 1 so that I can connect this post stitch to the post stitch in the row below it. It'll give it a bit of a diagonal direction. Next, I'm going to single crochet 2 times. Now, the next stitch I'm going to do, because this is the next stitch on my row is going to be the stitch right above the post stitch in the row below it. And then one more single crochet in the next stitch. And then I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to make a front post double crochet in the next stitch. Next, I'm going to single crochet 3 times. So 1, 2, and then 3. I'm going to go ahead and in the stitch after that, I'm going to make a front post double crochet. Now in the next 2 stitches, I'm going to make 2 single crochets. So we're going to have 1 and then 2. Now the following stitch is going to be a front post double crochet, and so what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and just like before in this stitch, except we're going to kind of go in the opposite direction. I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to do a front post double crochet right into that previous stitch in the row below. Now I'm going to treat this next stitch as the stitch this came from because technically it is. And then in the stitch after that one, we're going to go ahead and place a single crochet. So this is what your piece should look, something similar to this. And then I'm going to single crochet 5 more. 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. And that covers the span of the 23 stitch swatch that we're working the spider in. So of course I'm going to go on again and I'm going to do my single crochets and then I'll meet you back here to do row 6. Now for row 6, I'm going to begin by crocheting 6, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. Next, I'm going to back post double crochet into the next stitch. Then I'm going to single crochet once, and then I'm going to do a back post double crochet into the front post double crochet that's 1 stitch over and 1 row down. Next, I'm going to single crochet 5. So in the next stitch, 1, and then 2, and then 3, 4, and then 5 in that next stitch. Now in this stitch, I want to do another back post double crochet, but this time I'm going to go down 1 row and then go back 1 stitch so that I can hook into the front post double crochet from the row below. Then I'm going to crochet, or rather single crochet in the next stitch. And then I'm going to make a back post double crochet in the front post right below it in this next stitch. Now next, I'm going to complete this length by single crocheting 6 more. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and then the 6. And then I'm going to continue to single crochet the remainder of this width, and then I'm going to bring it back again to the beginning part of row 7. Now for row 7, we're going to begin by single crocheting 5, 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. Next, I'm going to do a front post double crochet. And in order to do this, I'm going to connect it to the front post, or rather the back post double crochet just in the row below it. That's 1 stitch up and 1 row down. Next, I'm going to do a single crochet in the next stitch and a single crochet in the stitch after that. Then I'm going to do a front post double crochet right into the front or back post double crochet below it. Next, I'm going to single crochet 5. So 1, 2, 3, 4, and then 5. And again, I'm going to go ahead and do a double crochet front post in the post stitch below it. Then I'm going to single crochet 2, 1, and 2. And then in the next stitch, I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to make another front post double crochet into the last back post stitch just in the row below. And then I'm going to finish out this row with 5 single crochets. So 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. So this is what the front of your work should look like so far. Now I know this can be a little fiddly, so just take your time. I'm doing my best to explain it. I certainly realize I can improve, and I'm working on that, but I'm hoping this is clear, and with the help of the graph that I've provided, easy enough for you to figure out and follow. Okay, I'll meet you right back here when we start row 8. Now for row 8, I'm going to single crochet 4, and then in that next stitch, I'm going to go ahead and back post double crochet 1 stitch over and 1 row down right there into that previous front post. Next, I'm going to single crochet 3. We're going to 1, 2, and 3. Then I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to make another back post double crochet into this next stitch. And then after that, I'm going to single crochet in the next 5 stitches. So 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. And then as before, I'm going to back post double crochet into the post stitch right below it. And then I'm going to single crochet 3. 1, 2, and 3. And the next stitch, I'm going to do another back post double crochet into the back post that sits 1 stitch back and 1 row down. And then I'm going to finish off this row with 4 single crochets. 1, 2, 3, and 4. I'm going to begin row 9 with 3 single crochets, 2 and 3. Then I'm going to make a front post double crochet into the post stitch that is 1 stitch over and 1 row down. I'm going to follow that up with 3 single crochets. So 1, 2, and 3. Then I'm going to make another front post double crochet for this next stitch, but I'm going to go 1 stitch over and 1 row down to connect this front post into the post stitch below it. Then I'm going to single crochet 7. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and 7. So you should be looking at something like this so far. Now this next stitch is going to be a front post double crochet. And I'm going to connect it to the post stitch below it. And then just like before, I'm going to go ahead and single crochet 3. 1, 2, and 3. I'm going to do another front post double crochet right into the post stitch below it. And then I'm going to single crochet 3. So 1, 2, and 3. So I'm going to continue my single crochets, and I will meet you back here for row 10. For row 10, we're going to begin by making 3 single crochets. So 1, 2, and then 3. Next, I'm going to do a back post double crochet, and I'm going to tie this right into the post stitch below it. And then I'm going to make 3 single crochets, 1, 2, and then 3. And I'm going to make a back post double crochet again and tie that into the post stitch right below it. Next, I'm going to single crochet 7. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and 7. Again, I'm going to make a back post double crochet right into the post stitch below it. And then I'm going to single crochet 3. So 1, 2, and then 3. And for this row, we'll do one more back post double crochet right into the post below it once again. And then I'll finish this row off with 3 single crochets. And then I'll meet you back here for row 11. For row 11, I'm going to go ahead and single crochet 3, 1, 2, and then 3. I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to make a front post double crochet and tie it right into the post stitch below it. Next, I'm going to single crochet 2. Then I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to front post double crochet into the next post stitch in the row below. So basically I'm going to go 1 stitch over and down a row. And then I'm going to single crochet 9. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, and 9. Next stitch is going to be a front post double crochet, and I'm going to bring it down a row and over a stitch to loop it into this post stitch right here. And then I'm going to single crochet 2. So 1, and then 2. And again, I'm going to make a post stitch, a double crochet front post stitch right into the post stitch below it. And then I'm going to single crochet 3. 1, 2, 3. And that is the completion of row 11. Now next we're going to move on to row 12. And in row 12, that's where we're going to start the feelers before we move into the head for row 13. So things are going to start filling in a little bit. Now for row 12, I'm going to single crochet 3. And then I'm going to do a back post double crochet. Next, I'm going to single crochet 2. And then another back post double crochet. Next, I'm going to single crochet 3. So 1, 2, and 3. And now I'm going to get it into the first feeler. So I'm going to do a back post double crochet, but I'm going to do it right into the post of the next stitch. And then I'm going to single crochet 1. And then next I'm going to double crochet, or rather back post double crochet into the next post of that stitch. Now I'm going to single crochet 3 times. 1, 2, and 3. Then I'm going to do another back post double crochet right into the post of the next stitch, that front post there. And then I'm going to single crochet 2. 1, and then 2. And then one more back post double crochet into the post stitch right there. And then I'm going to single crochet 3. Now that we've completed row 12, we're going to move on to row 13. To begin row 13, I'm going to go ahead and single crochet 3. Next, I'm going to do front post double crochet. And then I'm going to single crochet 2. And I'm going to make a front post double crochet again. Then I'm going to single crochet 3. 1, 2, 3. Next, I'm going to do 3 front post double crochets. That'll be 1, 2, and 3. This is the beginning of the head right there where the little fillers meet the front part of the mouth, if you will. Next, I'm going to single crochet 3. And I'm going to do another front post double crochet. And I'm going to single crochet 2. 1 and 2. And I'm going to do one more front post double crochet for this row. And I'm going to finish this row off with my last 3 single crochets. Next, we'll move on to row 14. For row 14, I'm going to go ahead and I am going to single crochet 4. So 1, 2, 3, and 4. Next, I'm going to do a back post double crochet. Then I'm going to do a single crochet in the next stitch. And then in the stitch after that, I'm going to do a back post double crochet. Next, I'm going to single crochet 2. So 1 and 2. Then I'm going to do another back post double crochet right into this next stitch. The bar here for the next stitch I would otherwise be crocheting into. And then I'm going to continue to crochet, back post, double crochet into the next 3 post stitches. And then I'll do one more back post double crochet into the next stitch. Right there. Then I'm going to single crochet 2. 1 and 2. And I'm going to do a back post double crochet right into that post stitch. I'm going to make a single crochet. And then I'm going to make another back post double crochet, and I'm going to go over one stitch and down a row into this post stitch. And then next I'm going to single crochet 4. So 1, 2, 3, and 4. So far your work should look like this. For row 15, we're going to begin with single crocheting 5. So 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. And 5. Next, I'm going to do a front post double crochet, and we're going to hook that right into the other post stitch that's one down and one over from it. And then I'm going to single crochet 1 into the next stitch. And then I'm going to do another front post double crochet right into the other front or post stitch that's one down and one over. Then I'm going to single crochet 1 into the next stitch. And next I'm going to do a front post double crochet 5 times. So 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. Again, I'm going to do a single crochet in the next stitch. And then I'm going to do another front post double crochet, and I'm going to hook it into the next post. Then I'm going to single crochet 1, and then I'm going to make one more front post double crochet and hook it into the next post stitch. That's a stitch over and one row down. And then I'm going to single crochet in the next 5 stitches. 3, 4, and 5. Next, I'll see you back here for row 16. Now for row 16. We're going to begin by making single crochet 6 times. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. Next, we're going to do a back post double crochet. And we're going to hook it into the post that we just passed. There, that's a stitch back and a row down. Next, I'm going to single crochet once. And then I'm going to back post double crochet into that last post that we just passed. There on the stitch, that's a stitch back and a row down. Next, I'm going to back post double crochet the next 5 post stitches. So that'll be 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. Next, I'm going to do one more back post double crochet into the next post stitch. Next, I'm going to single crochet in the next stitch. And then I'm going to do one more back post double crochet for this row, right here into that last post stitch. And that post stitch is like a stitch up and one row down. So with that in mind, I will finish up row 16 with 6 more single crochets. So it'll be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. Let's begin round 17. I'm going to start off by single crocheting 7. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and then 7. Next, going to double crochet front post into the next post. Then I'm going to single crochet in the next stitch. And after that, I'm going to double crochet, or rather front post double crochet 5 times. So 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. I'm going to single crochet in the next stitch. And then I'm going to front post double crochet and hook it into that next post that's 1 stitch in down from this stitch. And then I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to single crochet 7 stitches. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and 7. And that finishes up row 17 for me. So to begin row 18, I'm going to start by single crocheting 7. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and 7. I'm going to do a back post double crochet into the post stitch below. And then I'm going to do a single crochet. Next, I'm going to do a back post double crochet 5 times. We have 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. And next I'm going to do a single crochet. And I'm going to do 1 more back post stitch. Rather double crochet right here into the post stitch below. And then I'll single crochet 7. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and 7. So the next thing I'm going to do is meet you back here for row 19. Row 19. Going to begin by single crocheting 6, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. Next, I'm going to do a front post double crochet into this post that is a stitch over and 1 row down. Then I'm going to make a single crochet. And then I'm going to make another front post double crochet. Again, into the front post, that's 1 stitch over and 1 row down. Then I'm going to do a single crochet. Next, I'm going to do 3 front post double crochets. So that's going to be 1, 2, and 3. After that, I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to do a single crochet. And then I'm going to do another front post double crochet back here into the post that we just did the single crochet into the top part of the stitch. It's the stitch that's 1 back and a row down. And then I'm going to do another single crochet. Then I'm going to do a front post double crochet. And then next I am going to single crochet 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. For row 20, I'm going to go ahead and single crochet 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. Next, I'm going to back post double crochet into the next post that's a stitch over and a row down. And then again in the next stitch, I am going to go ahead and make a single crochet. And then again, I'm going to do another back post double crochet. Then I'm going to make another single crochet. Next, I'm going to make another back post double crochet. Again, 1 stitch over and a row down. And then in that same post that we just worked in, I am going to make another back post double crochet. So you can see I've worked the 2 stitches into the same post. Then I'm going to work a back post double crochet into the next stitch. And then in the next stitch after that, I'm going to work 2 back post double crochets. So that'll be the one. And then the second one. But the second one actually takes the place of this stitch right here. So next I'm going to do a single crochet in the stitch after that. And then I'm going to make a back post double crochet with that one into this post right here, which is the next leg it's the leg that's coming out of the body there. I know it can get a little tricky with so much going on here in the center. Then the next stitch, I am going to place a single crochet. And then I'm going to have one more back post double crochet for this row. And then I'm going to single crochet 5 to finish out row 20. 2, 3, 4, and 5. So far your piece should look something like this. Row 21, we're going to begin by making 4 single crochets. 3 and 4. Then I'm going to make 8 front post double crochet. And I'm going to make a single crochet. And then another front post double crochet. I'm going to make a single crochet again. Now I'm going to make a front post single crochet right here into the next post. And then I'm going to make one more front post single crochet into that same post. Then I'm going to make 4 front post single crochets. So 1, 2, 3, and 4. Next, I'm going to make one more front post single crochet, and we're going to put it in the same post that we did our last stitch in. And then I'm going to single crochet into the next stitch. And then I'm going to front post double crochet into that last post stitch there that was a stitch back and a row down. And again, I'm going to make another single crochet. And then one more front post single crochet back into that last post that was a stitch back and a row down. And I'm going to finish row 21 off with 4 single crochets. And we're going to have 1, 2, 3, and 4. Row 22 begins with 3 single crochets. And then a back post double crochet into this next post stitch, which is a stitch up and a row down. And then I'm going to make my single crochet. And I'm going to do my next back post double crochet. Again, a stitch up and a post down, which puts us right here into, or sorry, a stitch up and a row down, which puts us into this post stitch right here. And then again, a single crochet. And now we're back into working the body of the spider. And then next I'm going to put 2 back post double crochets right into this next post that is coming up. So I'm going to put in my first one. And then I'm going to put in another into that same post. And then I'm going to put a back post double crochet in the next 6 post stitches. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and then 6. And now I need one more back post double crochet right there into the same stitch that we did our last back post into. And that is basically going to take up the stitch space for this right here. So the next we're going to do is a single crochet. And I'm going to place that single crochet into the next stitch over, which is going to be right here. And then I'm going to do a back post double crochet right here into this leg post. Or rather, I should have said the post stitch that creates the leg. And then I'm going to single crochet. And I'm going to make one more back post for this row. Next, I'm going to single crochet 3. So 1, 2, and then 3. Row 23. We're going to begin by making 2 single crochets, 1 and 2. And I'm going to go ahead and make a front post double crochet. And then I'm going to make a single crochet in the next stitch. And then a front post double crochet. Now this time I'm going to single crochet 2. And have 1 and then 2. Next, I'm going to front post double crochet 9. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, and 9. Next, I'm going to single crochet 2, 1 and 2, and then I'm going to do a front post double crochet. A single crochet, and then my last front row double crochet for this row. And then to finish out this row, I'm going to go ahead and single crochet 2, 1 and 2. row 24. Now for row 24, I'm going to single crochet 1. And then I'm going to do a back post double crochet. And then I'm going to single crochet 1 in the next stitch. And then I'm going to do a back post double crochet. Now next, I'm going to single crochet 3. So the next stitch is going to be right here, so that's going to be 1, 2, and 3. And then next, I'm going to do 9 back post double crochets. There's going to be 1 and 2 and then 3 and then 4 5 6 7 8 and 9. Next, I'm going to single crochet 3 in the next 3 stitches. 1, 2, and then 3. And then I'm going to do a back post double crochet. And then a single crochet, and then 1 more back post double crochet for this row. And then a single crochet. So for row 25, we're going to begin with a front post double crochet into the leg of course, which is 1 stitch over and a row down. And then next I'm going to single crochet 2 times, 1 and then 2. I'm going to do a front post double crochet in the next stitch. And then I'm going to single crochet 3. 1, 2, and then 3. And again, I'm going to set myself up for front post double crochet, and I'm going to do 9 of them across the body of the spider. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, and 9. Then I'm going to single crochet 3. 1, 2, and 3. Then I'm going to do my front post double crochet. I'm going to single crochet 2. And then I'm going to do my front post double crochet one more time. And for the last stitch of this row. Row 26. So for row 26, I'm going to start off with a back post double crochet. Next, I'm going to single crochet 2. Then I'm going to back post double crochet again. Next, I'm going to single crochet 3 times. So 1, 2, and 3. Then I'm going to back double crochet or back post double crochet 9 times across the width of the spider's body. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, and 9. Next, I'm going to single crochet 3, 1, 2, and 3. And then I'm going to back post double crochet once, and then I'm going to single crochet 2 times, and I'm going to finish this row off with my last back post double crochet. And I'll meet you right back here for row 27. So to start off row 27, I'm going to begin with a front post double crochet. Next, I'm going to do 2 single crochets. Then a front post double crochet. And then I'm going to do 4 single crochets. So 1, 2, 3, and 4. Next, I'm going to do 7 front post double crochets. So that'll be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and 7. Next, I'm going to do 4 single crochets. So that'll be 1, 2, 3, and then 4. I'm going to follow that up with a front post double crochet. Two single crochets next. And then our last stitch for this row is going to be another front post double crochet. So far your piece should look something similar to this. So to begin row 28, I'm going to start off with a back post double crochet. Next, I'm going to single crochet 2. Then I'm going to do another back post double crochet. And then I'm going to single crochet 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. Next, I'm going to back post double crochet 5. It'll be 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. Next, I'm going to single crochet 5. So 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. I'm going to do a back post double crochet next. And then I'm going to single crochet 2, 1 and 2. And then my last stitch for this row is going to be a back post double crochet. And I'll meet you back here for row 29. So for row 29, we're going to begin with a front post double crochet. Two single crochets, a front post double crochet, then 5 single crochets. So 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. Next, going to want to have 5 front post double crochets. So 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. Next, we want 5 single crochets. So 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. Now, I want a front post double crochet. Two single crochets, 1 and 2. And then the last stitch for this row, I want to be a front post double crochet. For row 30, I'm going to begin with a single crochet. Then I'm going to do a back post double crochet. Then 2 single crochets. A back post double crochet. And then 6 single crochets. That'll be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and then 6. Next, I'm going to do a back post double crochet. And then I'm going to do 6 single crochets. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. Next, I'm going to do a back post double crochet, crossing over right into that next back post double crochet. That's 1 over and a row down, just like we did on the other side. Mirror images and all that. Then I'm going to do 2 single crochets. I'm going to have 1 and 2. Another back post double crochet just like before. And then we're going to finish this row off with a single crochet. And so as you can see, we've pretty much finished the spider. And now we're going to start making that thread and then finish up the legs on either side, of course. For row 31, I'm going to begin with 2 single crochets. So 1 and 2. Next, I'm going to do a front post double crochet. Then I'm going to do 1 single crochet. And then 1 front post double crochet. Next, I'm going to do 6 single crochets. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. I'm going to do a front post double crochet. And then I'm going to do 6 single crochets. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. Next, I'm going to do a front post double crochet. Then I'm going to do a single crochet. Then I'm going to do a front post double crochet. And then I'm going to do 2 single crochets. So 1 and then 2. Now for row 32, we're going to begin with 2 single crochets. So 1 and 2. Next, I'm going to do a back post double crochet. And then I'm going to do 2 single crochets. And again, a back double crochet. Then I'm going to do 5 single crochets. So we're going to have 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. Next, a back post double crochet. and then 5 single crochets. 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. Next, we want another back double crochet. And then 2 single crochets. Our last back post double crochet for this row. And then 2 more single crochets. For row 33, I'm going to go ahead and single crochet 2. Next, I'm going to make a front post double crochet. Then I'm going to single crochet 2. And then make a front post double crochet. Next, I'm going to single crochet 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. Then I'm going to front post double crochet again. And then single crochet 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. Next, front post double crochet. And then single crochet 2. 1 and 2. And then front post double crochet. And then I'm going to finish the row up with 2 more single crochets. Now for row 34. You can begin the row with 3 single crochets. So 1, 2, and 3. Next, I'm going to do a back post double crochet. Then I'm going to single crochet 2, 1, and then 2. And then I'm going to do another back post double crochet. Next, I'm going to single crochet 4. So 1, 2, 3, and 4. I'm going to do a back post double crochet. And then I'm going to single crochet 4 again. 1, 2, 3, and 4. Next stitch, a back post double crochet. Then 2 single crochets. 1 and 2. Next stitch is going to be a back post double crochet. And then I'm going to finish this row off with 3 single crochets. 1, 2, and 3. For row 35, I'm going to begin with a single crochet of 3. 1, 2, and 3. Next, I'm going to do a front post double crochet. And then single crochet 2. 1 and 2. Next, I'm going to do a front post double crochet. And then I'm going to single crochet 4. So 1, 2, 3, and 4. Then I'm going to front post double crochet. And then I'm going to single crochet 4 again. 1, 2, 3, and 4. Next, I'm going to front post double crochet. And then I'm going to single crochet 2. 1 and 2. Then I'm going to do my last front post double crochet for this row. And then I'm going to finish this row up with 3 single crochets. So 1, 2, and 3. For row 36, we're going to begin with 3 single crochets. So 1, 2, and 3. Then going to do a back post double crochet. Next, I'm going to single crochet 2. And then I'm going to do a back post double crochet. Then I'm going to single crochet 4. 1, 2, 3, and 4. Then make a back post double crochet. And then I'm going to single crochet 4 again. 1, 2, 3, and 4. Then back post double crochet again. Single crochet 2. 1 and 2. And then a back post double crochet one more time for this row. Next, I'm going to single crochet 3 times, and I will finish up this row. So now we have one more row, row 37, before we've finished up this section of the tutorial before we move on to our different options. Now for row 37. And in row 37, we're basically going to repeat row 35. So that's going to be 3 single crochets, a front post double crochet, 2 single crochets, a front post double crochet, and then 4 single crochets, 2, 3, and 4. Next, I'm going to do another front row or a front post double crochet, and then I'm going to do 4 more single crochets. So 1, 2, 3, and 4. Next, I'm going to do a front post double crochet, 2 single crochets, a front post double crochet, and then 3 single crochets. Now that I've finished row 37, what I'm going to do is I'm going to completely finish the rest of the row. I'm going to single crochet in the remainder of my row. And then I'm going to move on to either options 1 or options 2. Option 1 in this video is going to be the spider cat hat. And then we'll go through the process of how to complete that hat and all the little nuances that go with it in terms of the tassels off the ear or the actual sizing for small, medium, or large. Now, if you're just making the beanie, go ahead and skip the option 1 part of the video and go into option 2. The option 2 part of the video, or that segment of the video, is going to explain how you're going to finish off your spider beanie. So once you've completed row 37, this is now the time where things change a little bit. Because what's going to happen is if you're making a small hat, a small cat hat, you are going to do 3 more rows of single crochet. So instead of 37, you're going to end with a count of 40. And the only difference with that is you're going to put your front post double crochet or a back post double crochet, whatever is called for, in the center of your fabric to continue with the thread for your spider. Otherwise, the rest of your stitches are just simply going to be single crochet. Now, if you're making a medium cat hat, you are going to want to crochet an additional 6 rows. And if you're making a large cat hat, you're going to want to single crochet an additional 9 rows. And again, all with the exception of just the one front post or back post double crochet stitch right down the center of your fabric, just so that you can maintain this thread for your spider. Next, I'm going to talk about sewing. So basically, you're going to want to take your fabric, and you can see here, and I just simply whip stitched. And because my videoing isn't perfect all the time, hang tight for just a second. We're going to get into how to make these tassels and then how to fold your fabric together. But I just wanted to quickly note that I just did a simple whip stitch. I don't think I mentioned it in the next part of this video that you're going to be watching to show you how to put it all together. Next, for option 1, in terms of the cat hat, I'm going to show you how I made the tassels. Now, of course, you may make different tassels or add different tassels if you like, or you may go without tassels at all. It's, of course, entirely up to you as usual. But this is how I made these tassels. So go ahead and leave yourself a nice long kind of a tail before you get started. And then chain 15. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, and 15. Next, I want to place 2 single crochets in the second chain from the hook. So 1 and 2 in the same chain. Then the next chain, I want to place 1 single crochet. The chain after that, I am placing 2 single crochets, 1 and 2. And then in the chain after that, I am placing 1. Next, I will place 2. And I'll continue that same pattern until I've completed the length of the chain. And now what that's going to give me, it's going to give me a nice kind of loose curl. So I'll have a relaxed curl as opposed to a tight curly curl. And then once I've completed that, I'll go ahead and I'll cut a nice long tail. And then I'll just pull that yarn through and tie that off. Now I need 3 of these per side, so probably a total of 6, at least for the tassels that I'm doing. And so I have 2 already made here. And what I'm going to do with those is I'm going to put them all together. I'm going to line up the finished edge or tip of each one. And then I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to gather up all my yarn ends, and I'm going to make a knot. And I'm going to place that knot right down at the very end of these curls. So just like this. Then I'm going to go and I'm going to braid these into a length. As you can see with this one, I already braided the length. And then I went and I placed 2 more knots. So I figured out about how long I wanted the braid of my tassel to be. And then I tied that end off with a knot. And then I gave it about 1/4 of an inch spacing, and I then tied off another knot. And there's a reason for this. This knot, the second knot and this first knot, these are going to act as kind of the stops. So your tassel isn't going to be pulled out one way or pulled in the other. This will keep it in place. So now I'm going to take my fabric for my cat hat, and I'm going to fold it over. I'm going to line up these 2 ends right here with the center of my fabric, which is going to land right there at that thread for the web. And then I'm going to take my stitch markers and I'm going to close these section right here together. And so this way I know that I will need to sew from here to here, and then from the top all the way down to the bottom of my cat beanie. Now, as I'm doing this, I'm going to want to take my tassel and I'm just going to go ahead, I'm going to slip it in right here. And I'm going to fold this over, and I'm going to take my stitch marker and I'm going to close this right here. And this is where I sew it in. So when I sew it in, then you can see I'll have my tassel automatically hanging off the tip of that ear. So I'm going to go ahead and do this and give you a chance to go ahead and do yours as well. And then we'll see you right back here in just a moment. Now with this part of the segment, I'm going to show you how to turn this bit of fabric into the beanie. Now, if this were a small beanie, I would begin my 38th row. But because this is a medium-sized beanie, I will single crochet, except for the webbing of my spider, but I will single crochet all but the one strand of webbing done with this particular post stitch for 3 more rows. So that would basically put me at row 40 before I started closing off the top of my fabric to turn it into a beanie. Now, if this were a large beanie, I would continue crocheting my single crochets with the exception of the post stitch here for the thread of the web 6 more times. So I would begin the process of closing my beanie after I completed 43 rows. Now, the process of closing this beanie is going to be 3 additional rows. So my first row, I'm basically going to single crochet, and then decrease. And for this decrease, I'm basically going to insert my hook into the next stitch and pull up a loop. And then I'm going to insert my hook into the next stitch and pull up a loop again. Then I'm going to yarn over and pull that loop through, basically turning these two stitches into one stitch. And I'm going to continue that pattern through the length, my 41st row. Again, if you're doing a small, this will be your 38th row. And if you're doing a large beanie, this is going to be your 44th row. So now that I've completed this row, I'm going to go ahead, I'm going to chain one, I'm going to turn my work, and then I'm going to do this next row, single crochet in each stitch. So now that we've finished this last row of single crochets, I'm going to chain one, I'm going to turn my work, and then we have one more row left to do before we sew together the seam and cinch the top of the beanie closed. So for this last row, it's going to be just like this first closure row, and that is that we're going to single crochet and then we're going to decrease. Single crochet, and then we're going to decrease. And we can continue that pattern all the way down the length of this beanie. And then when I come back, I'm going to show you how to sew it all together. But when you finish, do not cut your tail. In fact, cut your tail, but leave yourself a nice long piece of tail to work with, because that's the yarn or the length that we're going to use to cinch the top of the beanie and sew the seam, the back seam of the beanie. Now, once you've completed your last row and you've cut your yarn, which you're going to use, your tail, I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to take my fabric and I'm going to fold it wrong side out. And while this isn't necessary, it can be helpful. I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to stitch marker, or basically just close my ends together. And then also I'm going to close right here where the top part of my ribbings meet. So this will keep my fabric pretty much from slipping as I'm sewing the seam. But first, I'm just going to go ahead and I'm going to basically do a running seam, or a running stitch, sorry, right here just underneath these top two loops of this very last row. Okay, so I've done one complete circuit all the way around, and you might be satisfied with doing the one and cinching it shut, but I am going to go ahead and I am going to make one more round again, because I want to make sure that it stays in place, that there's a little strength behind it. So I'm just going to repeat what I did before and bring it around again, just to make sure that this top of my beanie is cinched good and secure. And then when I come back, I will start sewing down the back of this seam. I've completed cinching in the top of my beanie. And now I'm going to work on just sewing this seam. So you've got a couple of different options. You can do basically a ladder stitch where you're going to pick up the back loop in each stitch on your way down this back seam. Like so. You're just going to kind of stair step it down. Or if you want to, you can do a simple whip stitch like this. Just a regular old whip stitch. It's really going to be up to you. Either way is going to give you a nice finished piece. Now, once you've finished sewing it, you can have a beanie that looks like this, and it's going to be ready for you to leave it just as it is. It's going to be perfect that way, or you can put a pom-pom or some other kind of topper on this as you please. So I'm really happy that you joined me today. It was fun. This video was long, I know, and I congratulate you for making it through the whole thing. But now's the time for me to say goodbye. So until I see all you wonderful and creative fiber artists again, stay crafty, stay amazing, and above all, keep weaving your weird. Bye-bye now.